Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of California Underground. I'm sure the regular listeners notice things look a little different and sound a little different. Phil, your host of California Underground, is noticeably absent. He's unable to join us tonight, so just for tonight, I'm your host. I'm Camille, and I'm normally here as the co-host. I suppose it's fitting that Phil isn't here, as tonight's topic is women in politics, so we're basically just having girls' night. I am also joined by two special guests tonight. Hold tight, ladies. I'm gonna introduce you all in just a moment, but I want to speak to our live audience. Thank you to everyone in the live audience for tuning in, and let us know where you're watching from in the chat. Ask questions there. Have you ever held an elected office or even run for office? So we have with us former congressional candidate for District 6 in the Sacramento area, and current Maggie's List California State Co-Chair, which we'll talk about more later, Mrs. Tamika Hamliton. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much, Camille. You're doing a great job. I'm really excited.
Thank you. You never know when I'm going to get fired.
No, you're not going to get fired.
Also joining us tonight is the youngest female mayor in the state of California, former city council member and current mayor pro tem of Yorba, which is my city, Richard Nixon territory, Tara Campbell. Thank you so much for taking time to join us tonight. How are you?
Good. I actually just got out of a council meeting, so it's fitting to jump in. And thank you so much for having me.
Yes, perfect. And you're also the youngest person to be elected city council. Is that correct?
In Yorba, yeah.
In Yorba, okay, fantastic. So we're going to start with you, Tara. Where did your interest, when and where, was there a particular event that you became interested in politics?
Well, I never, ever thought I would ever be doing this, let me tell you. And I think that's a lot of people's start until something gets them and motivates them. I went to college thinking I wanted to be a sports journalist, and I went to what I thought was the perfect place for that, USC, and really loved that experience. But I thought, you know what, I better not pigeonhole myself just to sports. And politics kind of did interest me. And so I was going to take an internship in Washington, D.C., interning for C-SPAN. And that internship actually fell through, and I had to go find something because my bags were packed for Washington, D.C. And I ended up interning for actually a bipartisan nonprofit that was trying to get members of Congress to work together on legislation. Believe it or not, somebody was trying to do that. And then I thought I was doing all this great work, but then the government shut down. And this was in 2013 over healthcare, if you remember. Mm-hmm. And so I'd like to say I saw government gridlock at its absolute finest. Out when I came back from that internship that stuff can happen even on the local level. My city, Yorba, was in the midst of a recall. And then I found out that wasn't uncommon for Yorba. We had about eight potential recalls in the past 15 elections. And I was like, what is going on? This is my hometown. Grew up here. This is a great community. And I was like, you know what, if you want to see a change in government, I think we all look around, why isn't somebody doing something about that? And why wasn't I looking at myself out there and be the change that I wanted to see in government, this thing that impacts every aspect of our lives and is so important. So all of a sudden I shifted gears, and then one thing led to another, and I became mayor of my hometown. I don't know how that happened, but it's not something I thought I was ever going to be doing. But I'm really proud to say that I am, and you really can make a difference.
That is absolutely amazing. Tamika, I have the same question for you, basically. When did you become interested in politics? Was there a certain event? Were you always interested? What happened?
Kind of like Tara, I never thought in a million years I would be running for office. I was never interested in politics, but I've been in the Air Force for 20 years, 14 active, and the last 6 years I've been in the reserves. And when I came off of active duty, I always tell people, it's like being in the military is like a world within a world. And so you're living on base, like we did anyway. We lived on base, and things were obviously very different than it was on the outside. And so when we found the house, my dream home, the community looked a little, the things that were happening in California, in my community, and the stuff that I was seeing, I was just like, where are our voices? Where are the people that are going to represent me, represent my children, believe in the same things I believe in? And we all know that California has a supermajority, and then we don't have we only have 7 members from Congress in DC out of 53 districts, and that's sad. And so it's kind of interesting because it's one thing to be a Republican voter versus actually being in the mix and being a part of the local politics. And so I walked into my first Central Committee meeting already with in mind that I wanted to run for office. And they were kind of taken back because I look a little different than everyone in the room. But, you know, 2 cycles and a 24% registered Republican district, and we made out really well for 45-46%. We had a lot of challenges, but for me, it's like thinking about our kids, thinking about their future. I was just like, we're going to go for it. And I've learned a lot, and I'm just really grateful for that opportunity.
I just have to say, Tamika, I just want to brag on you for a moment. Like she said, 14 years in the Air Force, 6 years in the reserves. And in that time, she had 5 kids and ran for Congress. And I just I only had 4 kids and haven't done anything near that. And so I just think you're amazing. And I actually, got to know you during your last election cycle when you were campaigning, and sometimes you would call me and then you'd be like, hold on, I've got to go talk to this voter. And you would just put the phone down and you'd be talking to someone, and you were just literally always doing that. And it was amazing and inspiring.
Thank you. Yes. It's one of those things where, I found that running, and I think Tara can express it the same way I do. It's just like, you don't know where you're getting into until you get into it. And then you're like, oh my gosh, it's like a whole new world opens up. And so many people want help and they want somebody to talk to. And I realized for politics here in California, a lot of people are missing that connection with elected leaders and just people that are speaking on their behalf. And so I've never met a stranger, as you already know. So, but yeah, I just, is that the same experience for you, Tara?
Oh, absolutely. I think people are so also excited to at least see their member or somebody who's running for office out and about, and actually being able to have a conversation with them about even the issues. And let me be one of them, I'm sure, the many people to thank for running, because it does take so much to put yourself out there and actually decide to run and give an incredible effort and success that race. So thank you for running.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. Thank you for being mayor and putting yourself out there. Oh my gosh. I can't even, I know my little town, Dixon, there's it's so tiny. It's like a little Mayberry town. So I don't know if that's the situation you have there, but I could not imagine being mayor at all. It's different than running for Congress because you're kind of still separate, you're still your own person, but everyone can walk up to you while you're at Safeway and be like, what are you doing? What are you doing about this? So how was that experience? What is that like?
Oh yeah, no, you're 100% running into people at the grocery store. Literally, I was at an event last night at a table, and the people on one side of me needed help with the trash hauler, and the people on the other side needed help with their neighbor dispute. And literally, I'm able to solve it right then and there. That's the great thing about being mayor or local government. What I love is literally I'm at night solving the problem. You're able to solve it really fast at the local level. I mean, obviously Congress, you're hundreds of members. It's a whole other beast. But that's also what I love about local government, is the fact that you're so connected with the community and you're able to accomplish things pretty fast.
That's pretty awesome.
I've met you at a couple of political events, Tara, but I have seen you around town with Jean Hernandez and other city council members, but I left you alone. How big is Dixon? What's the population?
Oh gosh, in Dixon? Oh yeah. God, I don't know. I know in my little district it's about 1,500 people. So if I ran for city council, this would be, I don't want to say it like that, but I think I would win. I know when I ran in the district, my town was in the district, I won the town. So yeah. No, ma'am. No.
You knew where I was going to go with that.
No, if I ran, I'm gonna make you both come up here. No way.
Tara, how big is Yorba Linda? I don't even remember.
We're 68,000 residents.
Okay, I was going to say 66. I wasn't sure. So so Tara and I both grew up in Yorba Linda, and to us it's a small town, but Tara, you're much younger than I am, but I feel like we're probably like the old people who can say, "Oh, I remember when this was this was just a plot of land. This was our Christmas tree lot." Like,
before the Walmart.
I remember when this ended here, and so like my kids are probably, they like roll their eyes at me because it's like, yeah, Mom, okay, we get it.
We are of that. No, we totally could say that, where it used to be Carl's Jr. and Starbucks, all those little things.
Yeah.
Or,
the new town center.
Just got a Target. So
I
you
haven't
still
been there
have
yet.
like that small town feel. We're about, I would say, like medium-sized city for Orange County. We still have that small town feel,
Yes, I love it. When I first got married, I stayed in Orange County, but I moved Irvine, Tustin area, and then finally convinced my husband we needed to be back here. And I love it here. I own chickens.
Back.
I got to vote for you. And you're kind of a little hometown hero because you, being so young, you jumped in right away so young. And did you get any pushback on that? I know a lot of people were fans of it, but being female and being very young, how was that?
Yeah, so I at the very old age of 22. So you know what? Into it, of course, you're not expecting somebody in their 20s to be on the city council. You aren't. So I was gonna have to overcome my age. And so I really, like to say I did my homework. I was served years and I was chair of that commission. So I was already making decisions on the city budget, the city. I sat in council meetings for over a year where no other candidate was doing that. I door knocked every door in Yorba Linda because I knew that it was going to be conversations to be able to prove that, she actually knows what she's talking about, and most important, ideas and tangible ideas of how to improve it. And when I ran in 2016, I was doing social media where other people really weren't at that time. Now you can't not do social media, right?
Right.
So no, running at it, I definitely had work hard to overcome that perception, of course. Elected and I was top vote getter. So I think it resonated for people. I think, to your point, I think a lot of people were excited about it, seeing a new generation coming up, wanting to work and make our community and our country better. People were excited. Of course, you're not expecting somebody who's 25 to be mayor. We get that, right?
And in 2016, when you were elected, that was the first time we had a female majority city council, correct?
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. It was all 5 men, and that was the first female majority in our city's over 50-year history.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Amazing. And speaking of social media, I thought I read that you were the first one to actually, you're like, hey, 21st century, you implemented social media for the city. Is that?
Yeah, we had no social media. 2016, like it was a thing, right? Like we were a little behind the times. Technology wise, we were behind the times. We were still doing paper time cards at City Hall. So that's something as a young person, right? You're bringing a new perspective. You used to have to like physically for registering, even for like an adult softball league. And I'm like, guys, electronically, let's people, into find City Hall to do these things. So we've come a long way, and it's also about government efficiency. Government should be working for you, not making you work to get what you need from the government. But it's things like that hopefully, as somebody who was younger, brought a new perspective to help resolve.
With that, did you notice, did it bring in more registration for events? Do you think more people joined?
Oh yeah, and then it's easier to sign up for other things too, right? Like you're seeing more participation in other as well when it's something that's easily accessible. You're like, oh, there's also a painting class I can take or things like that. One of the things that I actually really love that we did is even just like simple business license, that you can now pay for online. You don't have to make the business owner come and do something like that. Or now we do virtual like inspections where that way somebody doesn't have to drive out there and inspect your business done way sooner, and hopefully open your business so you can get up and running faster. So all those technology more efficient for everybody.
Yeah. Good
Local
job. Thank
government.
you. I appreciate that because I have 4 kids. They're getting a little older now, but we certainly registered for so many, all the annual Easter egg hunts and so many of the summer classes and everything. And I'm a homebody and I hate driving. I don't live very far from City Hall or the community center, but still I was like, I'm doing this online in my pajamas in the comfort of my home. Done.
How we all want to be doing it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. At any time, so thank you. Tamika,
Yeah.
back to you real quick. What about you with any pushback that you received for being a female running in your district? And of course, we can bring in the fact that you are Black and people tend to have, I talk to you every day. I know I can say this. We have very candid conversations.
We are. Yes, that's fine.
What experiences, if you want to share any pushback, and you've actually shared some kind of horrific stories with me, but feel free to share what you want to share here.
I mean, they're gonna be like, "What horrific stories, Camille?"
I'm not going to tell them.
Oh gosh. Okay, so I have all the strikes. So okay, I'll start with this. I've had some amazing people support me the past 2 cycles. I'm gonna start with the good stuff. Like I've had a lot of good people support me, back me 100,000%, and the good outweighs the bad always for me. But obviously there are some challenges. So I would say I have a couple of strikes against me with people that have been around for a long time, like, "You're a mother, how dare you leave your children to go to DC?" And I'm like, I've been in the Air Force for, at the time when I started, oh gosh, like 16, 17 years. And I'm like, I've deployed with children. No one ever asked me anything about that. No one ever said, "Hey, can we help you with your kids?" Stuff like that. So I would always challenge them with, I've been in the military for a very long time. It's different going to Kuwait versus DC. I think so anyway. I think I'll be okay.
I can imagine.
My husband's a police officer. We've been doing this for a very long time as a married couple. I think we're going to be fine because we've been doing it without you guys for a long time. The other thing is, like you said, the secret that I am Black.
It's out now.
It's out. And here's the thing, is like when I started running, there was this phenomenon with Black conservatives. And I did not know this because I was not on social media until I started running for office. And so I was like, so when I walked into the Central Committee meeting for the first time, they're like, what is happening? Like they were just so shocked. They were just like, they had not met a Republican from the beginning. There's a lot of people that have crossed over, which is great, but they had never just met someone that was just a straight Republican that was Black, where we are right now. I think that's changing a little bit, but there's still always more work to be done. So I was faced with a lot of narratives that were created before I even got there because of all the different things they were hearing from Black Republicans or Black conservatives. And I was just like, well, I don't think like that. I don't say, oh gosh, like what's something that they used to say? Leave the Democrat plantation and stuff like that. I was like, I don't say that and I won't say that. And I remember hearing from so many people like, you can say things we can't say. And I'm like, well, then why would you, hold on, wait, you want me to say things that you can't say, but should we be saying them at all? How is this drawing people to us? And how is this going to expand the party if we're saying offensive things? So that didn't go over well. And I went through like this really interesting period where I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel comfortable bringing minorities to some events because I was afraid for them to be questioned, and they weren't allowed to just be who they are. They had, they wanted the caricatures, or they would ask silly questions even to me. And I'm like, I don't want them to do that to my guests, Um, and even talking about it now as a regular citizen and not a candidate, it's so freeing, because, for a long time, it's like, if you say some of these things, people will get depressed, and they'll just, or it would make them feel like instead of me challenging them on their beliefs, they would look at it as like just a negative and walk away, And that was something that was really hard for me, because I was just like, okay, well, I'm telling you something that doesn't work for me, because Black community isn't a monolith. And I don't represent all Black people. I'm just one person. But what you see on TV is not the sum of us all. And that was really hard for a lot of people to understand. And when I didn't do what they wanted me to do, I would get, I don't want to say blacklisted, but I wouldn't get support in certain areas where I should have. So that was something that I had to, that I still, you and I talk every day. So, I still deal with some things where it's just like, why are we still doing this in 2023? Why are we still having these like hard conversations about race? Or why do we still have to struggle with talking about race? But like I said, the good outweighs the bad, because I found a lot of amazing people support the campaign. I think that overall, we have to do whatever we can to grow the party. I mean, if you look at, if you look at Congress, if you look at California, I mean, we just don't, the Republican side doesn't have the diversity. I know that's a dirty word, but it's real. And that's not just with your background, your ethnicity, it's women too.
Yeah.
We don't have the diversity, and it takes a lot to run. And I think like also one of the biggest challenges is like showing people how hard it is to run. And how it's not just being on social media. And I hate it. I still hate social media. And because I didn't have it before I ran for office, it was, I was just like, why do I have to post every day? Or what is this? What is a reel? I was just, I'm so silly about stuff like that. I just felt like I'm going to be on the ground. I'm going to do my part. And and a lot of people thought like, if you had, the more social media followers you had, the better your results were, as far as, the race. And that's just not true at all. And I remember when I ran for the first time before redistricting for 2022, I got more votes than the person that had $500,000, all the support, all the social media followers, like 250,000, something crazy like that, probably more. And
Probably
I had like 5,000.
They probably paid for that.
And I had like not even 5,000 followers, but I got double their votes. And then when the general came, I got 46%. And they're like, how did you do that? You didn't even have social media following or blue checks. And I'm just like, because you worked the ground. That's what I did. So yeah. And it's like, I could tell you so many stories. I mean, I've been followed. My windows have been bashed, trying to intimidate me to leave the race. And I'm just like, do you guys know, like, I'm a gangster. I'm not leaving the race. No, just joking. But again, it's those things, brought me to this place of where I am today. And I'm really grateful for the experience. And now I'm just helping other women run. So, yeah.
Well, see, and that's why, we think these, women, Republican women who put themselves out there to run, because it takes so much. I mean, just even some of the stories you mentioned right now, how much effort it takes to run a campaign, especially for Congress. You touched on like sharing with other women how to do it and how share that. I'm on the board of the Marian Bergeson Excellence in Public Service series, which is teaching Republican women the tools on how to run for local or state office or even higher. And we've had a lot of great success stories recently, even Kate Sanchez, who just became and went through the Marian Bergeson series and now is a state assemblywoman representing Republican women now in the California State Assembly. So just a plug, Republican women watching how do I get started? How do I even run? Look up the Marian series because they're happy to help show you how
Is
to
that a
do that.
website?
What?
Is that a website?
Series, oh gosh, I don't want to get it wrong. BergesonSeries.com, I think. And I'm going to look it up so that I don't get it wrong.
No, that's amazing. Because, one of the things that I always talk about is like how so much of what I know, I don't ever want to gatekeep. And there's so many people that are in, in positions of leadership that gatekeep, and they don't want to help people. They don't want to give them the tools. They don't want to, show them the way. They want to just give them an inch so that they can still have some kind of control over the candidate. And I think that's so wrong. And, and then, one thing I think about is just like when you're sitting down having to raise money and you're having to, God, I've put in 30 hours a week and just on the phone, not events, not, going on the weekends to stuff. You already know how that works. And it's like, a lot of people are like taken back. They're like, you have to raise money. It's not online. The party doesn't give it to you. You're like, no.
Yeah.
So that's really awesome that you're doing that.
Yeah, it's thebergesonseries.com. Forget thebergesonseries.com, and people can look it up, and they take women throughout the state of California. So whether you're northern, southern, central,
Oh, wow.
you have a lot of people who've gone through the program. In fact, Assemblywoman Lori Davies went through the series as well. So great success stories out of the program.
That's awesome.
Thank you. I don't think I knew that about you, but I very much appreciate hearing that. So what are some issues, passions, concerns that you two want to see changed within your local community?
You can go ahead first.
How much time do we have? The big thing going on, not only in my cities across the state, is the state mandated housing that's coming down from Sacramento. Size kind of fits all mandate that local it's over land use and housing. And so that's a big thing that my city, because every city has a state mandated housing number that they're trying to meet. And so we're really trying to fight back and get some local control over zoning. And in council meeting, we opposed another bill that's chipping away again at local controls. Big thing that we're working also to hopefully do an initiative called it's Our Neighborhood Voices. But it takes, you got to get 1 million signatures to get it onto a proposition onto the ballot. But it's something and some hope that maybe us as residents can take into our hands to get more of that local control back into the hands of. So thing, again, I'll let Tamika go before I pull off any other big things.
Oh gosh. One of the things that, obviously there's like many issues, but when I think about the state of California in terms of voting and registration, here in Northern California, we have an opportunity to win more seats, especially at your local level, your assembly level. And it's just about voter registration right now, because a lot of people have stayed home. And you and I've talked about this, Camille, like I lost my last race by 29,000 votes and 39,000 Republicans stayed home. And it's just like, and it takes a lot to reach them. It takes a lot to get volunteers to come out because they've just been disenchanted for the past couple of years. But we need more people to be involved, not the same old, because that's how things don't ever change. And so I'm just like pressing for more voter registration. And that's why, I support, and I'm a co-chair for Maggie's List, helping candidates locally, and in the Northern California area. And that Maggie's List is for Congress, for federal. So, but it doesn't stop me from the other side. It's like working with the local Republican Party to get people registered is just huge. We only need 3 seats to start having some kind of leverage in the legislature. And right now we're at 18. So it's like, we're right there. And if people I always say, like, if they took the same energy they had on the recall and do it for their community, we could probably have more than 21 seats. But and we should be doing it like right now. We shouldn't be waiting. We shouldn't be waiting on the party. We don't need any of that. We could do it on our own.
Maggie's list was actually my next question. I wanted to ask you. So you're the co-chair for California of
Yes.
Maggie's list. Can you tell us more about that?
Okay, so California is a big state, obviously, and we only had one chair, and she's down in Southern California. And they actually asked me to do it last cycle, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to be running again, so I don't want to take on that heavy lift. But basically, Maggie's list is a counter to the Democrats' Emily's list, and we are just solely laser focused on helping women get elected, and we make connections with our congressmen to donate, to support, and to be our representative, like a kind of like a partnership. And also I go to all the meetings for Republican Women Federated and other women's groups across the area, across the Northern California. I might be coming down to East Bay a little bit, but I'm not quite there yet because we have so many. But just educating them on Maggie's list and how it is a heavy lift for women to run. And so it's so important that people help these women, because there's this like idea that you're getting help from the party. And not a slight on the party. It's just that the party has to keep their ship running. They can come in with the NRCC, which is the Congress's leg to help people run on the congressional side. But even then, they're not coming in unless they see an opportunity to win. And so everything is up to the candidate. And if there are organizations that support, like Maggie's list, is even better. And so Maggie's list can cut them a check if you are showing that you have the ability to win. And the numbers are in your favor. And so I am the person that will endorse, like give a recommendation, and also hand them a check so they can be successful and get to the finish line.
So people must love you. You're just handing over.
No, they do not. Can you just give me a check and I didn't do any work? Like, no.
It's a good way to make friends.
I don't need any friends. No, I don't have enough.
Tara, I believe I read something that you wanted to run on was because you saw that there wasn't a whole lot of the parties working together. You didn't like that everything was so bipartisan and everyone was, my way, instead of working together. Am I wrong?
Well, when I went to DC, and again, my background was sports journalism. I did not really have the political chops yet, right? So when I went to DC, and I was working for a bipartisan nonprofit, and there was a lot of members that are still involved to this day that were a part of it. In fact, like I remember Todd Young was a congressman, and now he's a senator from Indiana who was part of it. And anyway, so there was I really appreciated that experience. It wasn't until I came back home that I went to that Central Committee, like Tamika is describing, and that's eye-opening, going to your Republican Central Committee for the first time, right?
They're like, what are you doing?
You're like, it is eye-opening. You're like, wow, because a lot of people, your average person, does not know what a Central Committee is, right?
Mm-mm.
Your average, Republican going around, they still don't necessarily know what a Central Committee is. Anyway, I get off topic, but of course, where we can work together, yes. I think especially I could speak to in my town, it was there's opportunities where we can work together, whether it's working with the school board or the community district or whatever. There's so many levels of government. It's too much, but
but that's awesome.
I know, but trying to work together. Again, in my opinion, it's about having efficient and effective government, and not more of it that's not accomplishing our shared goals.
Amen. Amen.
Right. So it was more so that.
Okay. I so appreciate.
I'll give an example too. Like homelessness. Mm-hmm. I'm actually really proud of what my city's done on homelessness. It'd be one thing if, like, okay, say Yorba addresses our home problem. Well, they might just go our neighboring city of Placentia or Anaheim, right? Like, this is a regional problem. It deserves a regional solution. So we partnered with our neighboring 13 North Orange, and together we are funding and operating shelters that way to enforce our anti-camping ordinance, meaning we're able to maintain our public spaces while also providing a helping hand up to those who are in need. So it's something like that. It's like working together on solutions that I think could be among other regions and around the country.
Awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's great. You're doing a good job. Obviously, Yorba is, and the areas around us they're pretty clean still. You know, we're not anything like Los Angeles.
Can you just come to Sacramento, because we don't have that. We need all of that. I know our homelessness rose like 67% in the past 2 years, and we've thrown like $4 billion at the homelessness projects.
Right.
So
no,
it's
no.
It's
just LA example.
Oh God, I just I will never understand like how we got this far, and it's so heartbreaking. It's so heartbreaking. Sorry, Camille.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I was going to try to take this back to women. Since that's our topic. This is all great. I mean, we can discuss whatever, but I want to hear from both of you advice that you would give to women who want to become involved in politics.
Okay. You want me to go first?
Go for it, Tamika.
Oh gosh. I know she was like waiting. I would say don't second guess yourself and be yourself. One of the biggest that was like the biggest piece of advice that I ever got, that I still take with me to this day, because if you ever decide to run, there are going to be a lot of people in your ear trying to tell you need to talk like this or be like this, wear this dress. Or I remember like, I was looking through some old papers the other day, and I remember this lady wrote me a note, and she's like, you need scarves and you need a pair of pearls. And I'm just like, and I know these people mean well, but I think that one of the things that people don't understand is like, when you decide to run and then you become the person, it is a whole nother level of pressure. And being yourself is like, you just have to, yes, if you can make improvements and you're still yourself, great. But don't let anybody change you. I've seen people cut their hair, dye their hair. I mean, totally change everything because they're listening to other people because they want to, people please or get more support. And I'm like, yeah, but like, that's not you and it's not authentic, and people will end up knowing. So I would say, be yourself. Don't try to go to every event. You just can't. It's impossible. Don't feel bad if you can't go. Just send them a nice note or send them a nice email, but you can't go to every event. Be yourself. Don't put 100,000 miles on your car like I did. Gosh, but I know I did. And you still have people say that wasn't enough, Tamika. And you're just like, how is it not enough? Yeah. And take care of your family. Take care of your family. They are the only ones that are going to be there when all this is over. And the people don't mean more than your family, because your family is your backbone. And yes, and the people are always going to be there along with their problems. Their problems are going to go. And you can't answer every email. Don't be on your phone while you're eating. I could go on and on, but that's
please do.
It's just, so I'm really big on being yourself, because I remember, I'm telling you, like, you think that one little note, oh my gosh. And then it was like, and your kids and your away, you should be at this event and you should bring your husband. And it's like, look, I got to do what I got to do. So stay true to yourself. Don't, again, take in advice, be polite, be kind, but don't let anybody change you. Don't let this game change you, because again, these people and their problems will always be there. You're the person of the hour if you make it that far. And and don't gatekeep. If you learn something, you need as many people as you can on your side. And so be a friend to another woman, because you're going to need them. So yeah, words of advice.
That was all good advice. What can I add? All that good advice. I was taking notes. I will just say, I think everyone's probably heard the statistic of, right, that men need to be asked once to run, but women need to be asked like 7 times to run. And
No, I haven't. Wow.
just say for women, let me be and hopefully it doesn't take you 7 to encourage you to run. I think as women, sometimes we think, oh, I'm not prepared. I need to have XYZ qualification to do that. Or,
Right.
and to not let ourselves in our head talk out of doing it, or,
Yes.
It's okay to put yourself out there to run. I think honestly, everything that Tamika said too, there's going to be, have your people to either bounce ideas off of, or just ground you a little bit.
Yeah.
Which it sounds like you guys are kind of, talking to each other too, and hopefully providing that for each other too. Right. But I think we all have those friends that for you, who are fully supportive of you, but also you can bounce ideas of and be grounded with. So
yeah,
I'm sure as soon as I get off this, I'll come up with 10 other pieces of advice as well. But it's all those like little things that Tamika's saying too, right? Like, stay off your phone. You can't, that's the one piece of advice I give like new council members too. You're not going to be able to go to everything. Is where you're going to have to choose between, hey, you family commitment, that you need to go to. And it's so hard because you want to be, and you don't want to have to miss an opportunity, but you got to pick. There's going to be things you're going to have to say no to, and it's hard, but know that that's, people also want relatable, and they can connect to their family, also their own life as well. So it's all a balance, and it's a hard balance to strike at times.
Right. And like one of the things I just thought about is like how sometimes, well, not sometimes, a lot of times the public will treat us like a robot. And like you don't have a family. You're not a real person. You should take my call. Why didn't you respond to my email after I sent it 5 minutes ago? And I remember like feeling that pressure, when I would get a text, because I was silly. Don't ever give your phone number out. Get a campaign line. Don't give your personal number out. People still email me like I'm in Congress and ask. Thank God I have friends in Congress that I can send them over to. But people still email me like, hey, what about this? And can you fix this? And I'm like, I am not there. But I continue. Don't ever give your real number out. Don't do that. I did that. Terrible idea. I was just trying to help. But back to the robot thing, because I got off when I thought about the phone number thing. But I want to humanize politics. I want people to start acting like they have a conscience and start feeling again, because we're so divided right now, and it's really scary to think that having a difference of opinion can turn into a war when it shouldn't be a war of words, or a war of ideology. When we think more alike than apart. I mean, again, I'm in a district where it's 24% registered Republicans, and I got 45% of the vote this past cycle. And I did it within 6 months because of the redistricting we found out towards the end of the year. And so I literally only had like 6 months in this new district, and we still did really well for the time that we had, running against somebody that had $20 million. So it's like, you have to do everything you can to try to humanize politics, because again, it's not, we're not that far apart. Like the internet will try to make you think. And stay off the internet. God, stay off Twitter. It's not real life. Only 5% of the population is on Twitter, but it's like God to some people. It's weird. Yeah.
Sorry. No, that's okay. Thank you. I am not, I've never run for office, but I feel like as women, our appearances are picked apart far more than men. And even just being on here, I started receiving DMs about, I look bored, I laugh too much, my hair is whatever, I need to fix my makeup, or just makeup tips in general to make me look better. And I'm like, I'm not here to be pretty. So,
But you are pretty.
Thank you. But, like we are judged on our appearances and our attire and how is it, like the pearls, did you show up properly for the meeting?
Pearls and a scarf. You better have your pearl. Or oh my gosh. So I just had a baby when I first started running, like literally just had a baby. My baby was like 6 months. And I did not lose the weight like that. So of course that was a problem. And so everyone would be like, oh, you're still carrying some weight. And it's just like, or are you pregnant again? And I'm just like, I got dressed up to come here. I got my life together. I nursed, I pumped, and then you're asking me if I'm pregnant again. It's like, oh my gosh. And men did it a lot. And what people don't understand about that is like, it's also like a little bit of sexism with that. And so that was like one of the things I used to get. And even like with Seth, because Seth is almost a year, and you and I talk about this, Camille, but it's like, are you going to have another baby? It's like, you guys, why are you worried about my anatomy? Like, yes, I can have as many children as I would like. Sorry that's not your path, but I'm going to be well taken care of in my older years. And yeah, like I'm telling you, like I'm to find that letter. She said pearls and a scarf, and she actually stopped talking to me because I did not get pearls and a scarf. I'm not joking.
She sent them to you.
Right? No, she sent it to me in a letter, and I didn't do it, and so to hell with me. But yeah, that, and oh my gosh, my hair is naturally. I have a ponytail right now, but my hair is naturally curly. But I straighten it a lot just because I don't like blow dry. Like I straighten it because it's just easier with all the kids trying to get up in the morning and put product. You guys already know. But when I would wear curly, it was like, they're not going to vote for you if you have curly hair, Tamika. And I'm like, what? Like, so here I am about to give a speech, and I'm like thinking, are they going to, oh my God, so all those things that I had to like filter out, and I can't imagine, Tara, like what you've been through, but like, have you ever had to try to like filter out some of those issues or something similar?
With what to wear? I feel like, of course, there's more, we have to think about it more than men. They quickly put on a suit, they don't wear makeup, there's not accessory, right? Like
with the white shirt and roll up their sleeves and they're done, right?
Easy. Like that's there's like 3 looks: full suit, tie, no tie. That's, end of list, right? So yeah, there's obviously more options for us, but it's something that I had to consciously think about too, especially being a young woman, where you're having to, combat ageism. So you dressed definitely more conservative. And I remember some mentors who gave me the, advice, and honestly, it was probably good advice. Not this kind of jewelry. Your nails should be neutral. Those kinds of things that obviously a man does not have to think about. And I think I haven't got it as much lately. I will say I had like one lady email me, and I took it like funnily, but she's like, outfit was good, but don't use that purse again. And don't like, so, right. Would you ever get that critique? Like, right.
So tell us what you really look like outside of this.
No, my friends would tell you it's probably the same, but like, it's things that we probably you have to think about, because you're gonna get the comments that are usually unsolicited. But you have to think about it.
But here's my question. So since you're the mayor, what's the pressure for you when you walk out of the house? Because you're the mayor. You can't just go in a messy bun and Uggs, right? Like sweatpants, like you can't.
My friends will tell you I go full makeup everywhere, because you never know when you're going to run into somebody. The time you'll see me in a messy bun is at the gym. So catch me there. and people still know me there. So that's, I guess, where you will see me.
Yeah.
Not in full makeup.
Wow. Like, shouldn't you have a personal trainer or something? No.
I know. Aren't you
No.
rich? You're rich.
No.
You have all the things.
Yeah.
Come on.
The other misconception, people think mayor or city council is a full-time job, and it's not. That's the other shocking thing to people too. But anyway.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, you don't. This is
mayor is
Okay.
a great gig. Let me just say, when you're driving around town, especially when it's your hometown, to say, "Wow, this is you're mayor of the town you grew up in." It's pretty special. It's a great feeling.
That's awesome.
Okay, I have another question. What changes around women in politics have you seen over the last few years?
Gosh.
Well, I'll say, obviously, we're making tremendous strides in the number of women
Yeah.
at all levels, I think, of government. It's still not where when I was mayor in 2019. I think we were only 30% of even mayors were women. But again, it's only because of the many women who have come before, or all of us who made those strides at a way more difficult time, that have allowed even myself to serve where I am, and to the first female majority in a city that's over 50 years old. So making incredible strides, and easier and easier for more women to put themselves out there and run, because they're seeing other Republican women do it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Oh, me next. I'm glad that you said that, Tara. But the last part, well, all of it was great, and the last sentence that you said was, because they see us, they're having that courage to come out and run. And one of the things that I always talk about is how we Republicans have to do a better job of being comfortable talking about the fact that if we have more minorities run, then minority women or men, doesn't matter, but if on our side, then more people will be comfortable with running and voting because they see themselves in a person, and again, it's not all about this blanket general, oh, because someone's Hispanic or someone's Black. But if you don't see yourself represented, it does matter. And I know a lot of women that have said to me, like, I want to do city council because I saw you do it, and I'm encouraged, and I'll be the first person to run. So there's parts of it that do matter, and obviously I'm going to probably piss somebody off saying it, but at the end of the day, it's people do need to see, they want something to identify with, and it's not bad if they see a woman or if they see a Black woman, and become inspired. I would say that, like, one of the things that's really cool that's happened over the past couple of years that I was able to benefit from is babysitting, being a Camille's like she's inside, she's like laughing, because we talk about this often, actually. So up until 2018, women were not allowed to use campaign funds for a babysitter. And it was actually a Democrat who went to the FEC board from New York. I'm actually really good. We're acquaintances and we work on some things together. But she was like, hey, I am not rich and I am a regular person trying to have a job on top of campaigning. And I can't afford a babysitter, like, to do this full time plus all the other things. And she lobbied that and she was able to get it approved. But that, so can you imagine all the families that we missed out on because they couldn't afford babysitting on top of running for office? And, so I have a family, but I can't do it because it's just too much. It's too much. And that was like one of my actual biggest criticisms, outside of me being a mom and having the kids, then it was, you had to pay for babysitting. And it's like, do you not know how hard this is? And I mean, to the point to where it was in the press, but at the end of the day, I've made it, I know that I've stood my ground on it. I'm not ashamed of it, but it's just something that, again, has to be highlighted so that people can understand that there's single moms that are in Congress right now with kids, like 3 and 4. I don't know how they're doing it. And you need that support system. And so that's something that I'm really glad that happened for us. And I also think that one of the things that's changing is that women are more outspoken, I think, than they used to be. about a lot of issues that are happening in the community. I mean, we saw moms just come out when the vaccine mandates were here and being pushed on us, and I thought that was a great thing. People trying to just take control of of the narrative and say, hey, look, we don't want this. So those are two like really big things for me that I've seen.
We're coming up on an hour. And
Oh.
so I just, no. I want to be sensitive to your time. You've got all those kids. Tara was just in a meeting. I'm sure she's ready to go home and go to sleep. But I just want to touch on, because we've been speaking so much about women in office and running for office, but let's talk about other ways that women can be involved in politics that doesn't mean they have to go and run for office.
Okay.
Discuss.
Okay. So I think honestly the list is endless. It for office or nothing. For even there's city commissions that you could be a part of. If you want to be involved in the party, not only your local party and central committee and volunteer efforts there, but as Tamika mentioned earlier, there's Republican Women Federated groups and a lot of volunteer organizations. Support a candidate that you really like, whether it's making phone calls or door knocking for them. Sometimes I think volunteers a lot of time, even if you take a couple hours, 2 hours to phone bank, helping make, move the needle across the finish line. So there's so many ways. I hope people don't think, if I can't run for office, then there's nothing. There's always something that you can do. I also think fundraising is a big part of it. I think I've always come across people who are like, well, I can't, give $1,000. It's like, even if you gave $25, like that's 5 yard signs. Everything helps, even if it's a couple hours volunteering or being involved in different organizations too. But
yeah, totally. I do want to, so like Tara mentioned, like central committees, because I'm pretty sure someone's gonna be like, what's a central committee? So every district, every district should have a central committee. If you don't, that's not the end of the world. That means that you can start your own central committee. You can and you can be chair and you'll just rule the lands. No, but you can go onto the California GOP website and they'll give you a list of the central committees throughout the state with phone numbers. Well, no, with emails, not phone numbers, emails, and I think maybe possibly the location of the building where they hold the meetings. But that's where you go, California GOP website. And one thing I was thinking about is like, again, you don't have to have a degree to run for office. A lot of people think you do. You do not. You do not need a degree. You don't need a associate's. You just need will, and you need to be able to fight and be able to take the blows. I think the other thing that I am stressing right now, like obviously with the voter registration, is like you don't have to get permission to do any of these things. Like, a lot of people think they need permission from the state or from your voter registrar's office. Like, no, they can give you like you can get training from your central committee or email me or go and send me a DM, and I can point you in the right direction. But like, you could be the captain of your town, like not your town, but you could do your town, but that's a lot. But your neighborhood, you could say, I want a ballot harvest. You can say, I want to be the captain for that. You can rally other people to do that. Again, it takes that kind of effort so that we can be prepared for 2024. Republicans, sadly, are just so behind. I mean, so behind. It's like the Democrats are already in key states for the presidential election, shops set up, and we're just like, we're just going to wait till next year. I will tell you, don't wait till next year. You can do this for yourself in your own neighborhood. Again, go to the website. You can, again, be in charge of your neighborhood. You can do voter registration with other groups. Like she said, Republican Women Federated. Again, that's their own website. They're not necessarily attached to the California GOP. And these are things that I can send to you, Camille, so that you want to put it up on listed or something, I guess, somewhere for California Underground.
Yeah. There's also the California Young Republicans. I'm too old for, but you two are not. And what else is there?
You can sneak in there.
I did last week. I went to mine. I'm just spying. No, because I feel like I'm very involved politically, locally. Of course,
Are you? Are you really?
I'm a part of a PAC, and I also run my mouth and call out politicians
She's
when
so
I see
sweet.
them. Some would say I'm not. I have no problem calling out when I see the actual lies. And of course, I show proof. I don't just assume anything. I'm like, here's the receipts. And that has made me a few enemies. And those people have come out and said, like a few of them, and they call themselves Christians, and they come out and say, you're not doing anything. You've never done anything because you're not running for office. And what annoys me about the Christian part of that is because Romans 12:4-8 about the different parts of the body, we are all necessary to this machine, to our state. You can show up to the school board meetings, you can ask to see the curriculum, you can share your opposition to issues, you can show up to the city council meetings and see, we had a measure here that they were trying to pass with rezoning, and a bunch of people showed up on their horses. Literally to be like, no, we want to keep the horse zoning. And no, that was cute. But and I understand having had 4 kids young, I always voted. But I remember early 2008, and I had a 2-year-old and a 2-month-old, and I went to see Mitt Romney speak. He was running for president at the time, and it was like 30 minutes from my house. And I went to see him speak. And I remember I'm like holding my 2-year-old's hand and holding the car seat. I don't know why I didn't have the stroller, but I'm like walking along, and I had to park far away because of course it was a popular event. And I'm like walking down the street, and I was so determined to be there, and I got to meet Mitt Romney and shake his hand and whatever. But I remember thinking, I cannot do anything right now. And which, Tamika, you have done it all. But
No,
I have these babies. Like, leaving the house and going to all the meetings and doing all the things was not feasible at the time. Now I have 4 and they're older, and now I'm really getting involved and able to do things. I was able to do phone calls for some candidates. I was able to volunteer for a few campaigns. I was able to, because I homeschooled the kids, I used them for PE to like pass out flyers locally and stuff, and help with a few events, like even, a bunch of statewide candidates on a forum on a big stage. Like, that was really fun. And I have never run for office. I may not. Who knows? Tara, admittedly, that was my plan when I graduated high school. I was going to run for city council. I was going to get a degree in political science and run for Yorba City Council.
So we're going to run your campaign.
I never did.
Tara, campaign manager. You're going to be the campaign manager for Camille's campaign. I'll be the volunteer coordinator. No, but Camille, like, here's the thing. It's like, it's everyone is like you. Everyone isn't called to run.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone isn't called to do that. No. But like you said, hands and feet. I love how you bust out a scripture on us. But people just have to do what's in their heart. I wish I could. The Lord didn't come down and like sit me down and tell me like to run for Congress. That was what was in my heart to do. And I'm grateful to have done it, because I wouldn't be able to do a lot of things that I'm able to do now. Like, the game is made for people that are wealthy and well connected. And I've been able to meet people that can connect me with ways to help people that I wouldn't have been able to do before, so it's just about what's in your heart to do. And, honestly, just not being afraid to be great. I think a lot of times women, they fight with that a little bit, and if you just want to be a mom, like right now, I get to just be a mom. I'm like happy with that. And I felt the grace leaving that. When I say grace leaving, it's like you get grace to run for office. You get grace to lead. And, I don't have the same grace that I had before. Like, this is my time to be with my kids. And so thinking about running right now is like tempting, but I know where I'm supposed to be right now in this moment. And that's to be with the babies. So, but maybe, let me know, Camille, because what is it? Do you have any seats open, Tara? Do you have Tara's seats? I'm sorry.
I'm up as well.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
There you go.
I was going to ask you if you know what you want to do next, Tara.
Oh gosh. Well, like I said, I didn't in this situation. And now this is my 7th year on council, which is even crazy to think about. So I'm running for re-election in 24. But we'll see. You know, if I feel like Tamika said, if, you and it's where you're supposed to be and you're passionate about it, I'll keep on and do it. But you really have to have that. You have to have that passion in that heart for it, because it's a lot. But we need good people to put themselves out there to run for these positions. But and to go back, all those little things that build a campaign. It's not just the person, like it's not just me running for office. It's the amount of support of people walking door to door, people contributed. That's what made the campaign. It's all those people supporting those candidates and those causes. That's what gets it over the finish line.
That's really important, because a lot of people forget there's like a team of people behind you, and they're up like you are. They're the candidate, but behind the scenes, because they're your eyes and ears and stuff. And anyone that's actually elected or gets close, they have had a great team. Maybe one day we can talk about that, but yeah, that's really important too.
Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And I know we've gone over an hour, and I just really appreciate both of you being here. This was so great. And to everyone watching, if you could hit like and subscribe on YouTube and maybe share this with another person. Next week, Phil will be back. I will just be here as co-host, and we have another great episode lined up next week. So again, just thank you everyone, you two, for being here, and everyone who was in the comments, and everyone listening later on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, whatever. We appreciate you. So again, thank you, and good night, everybody.